Well, welcome back to Talking with Tad, and this is our second time of the series. And last week you ended up, hopefully, you ended up watching Steve Munisteri and that dialogue about 10K for 10 Rs. And one thing that happened during that conversation was that he gave a huge shout out to Texas Federation of Republican Women. And what better person to have with us today to even carry that theme on is the president of the Texas Federation of Republican Women, and that is Glynis Chester, who is with us today. Now, Glynis, before we get you talking, I just want to make sure that you remember you have to tell us a fun fact at the end of this conversation. And that way we keep people on wanting to hear all the information you said, but also they need to hear that fun fact about something special in your life. So anyway, so I'd like you to maybe share with us a little bit about who you are. Tell me why you got involved in politics, and then let's flow right into the Texas Federation of Republican Women, which, ladies and gentlemen, we call TFRW.
Well, thank you, Tony Ann, for asking me to be here today. I'm delighted to be a part of your program. Politics, I think for me, was something that's just been in my blood. I grew up in a family where we were taught to ask questions and to think. And I think my entire family laughed at me because I was always the one saying, why? Well, this is happening. Why? I don't understand. Why are we waiting for gas for hours on end? Why? Why is this happening? Why is that happening? So at a very young age, I was interested in the bigger questions of what was going on in the world. So there was always a little bit of that in my repertoire. But of course, as I had children and I got more involved in the schools and the libraries and the city and the community, I was always involved with politics, but not as much. It was sort of my little pet project over here on the side when I wasn't involved with my children. But then once my children all grew up and they were either in college or in high school, and they didn't need a room mom or a booster club mom anymore, I thought, okay, so what am I going to do? And so I started looking at all of the groups and all of the clubs and all of the organizations I was in, said which ones make me feel fulfilled as an individual, which ones make me really feel like I'm doing something and contributing something. And it all came down to the ones that were political in nature. And Texas Federation of Republican Women was the one that I was involved with at that time. And I said, okay, here we go. I'm going to put my energy right into this one.
And you have definitely put your energy into it. I mean, I know that you've held many different positions up in your local club and then got involved on the state level and holding different positions, what you did last year or for the last term, and being the first vice president. I mean, you have really done an incredible job, and I am just so excited for you to be in this position that you are right now, leading. How many women do we have in this organization right now?
Well, we ended last year with just a titch under 11,000.
Oh my gosh.
So we're in the process right now of renewing all of those because we start every year. Every year we start over. So we're working on the renewals right now. And of course, we always get new ones. So it's really exciting. And I'm hoping we're going to breach that 11,000 this year because there's an energy out there because the alternative is not something we want here in Texas. So ladies,
getting involved.
Yeah,
well, tell me some of the things that you're doing. What is your goal this year for TFRW and that incredible team of leaders that you have working together? And what is the goal and how are we getting there? And this will maybe build some excitement that we might get you some members from this talk.
Well, thank you for asking that, actually. We have a lot of goals. We do. We have big goals. Most of all, I think we want to send a message to Speaker Pelosi and tell her that Texans, especially Texas women, do not surrender lightly, and she is not going to take Texas, certainly not without the biggest fight she's ever seen. So we plan to take back all of the seats that we lost in 2018 and pick off a couple of blue ones just because we feel like it. We want to elect judges across the board. And of course, we want to deliver Texas for President Trump.
That is awesome. That's a really great goal to have. How have you been doing that during this time? Have you got, I mean, everybody's been sitting at home. Have they just been waiting to be released, or have we been working at it?
Oh, no, 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 no. There's no sitting time. We don't have time to sit. The most challenging part of this entire thing is that we have had to restructure and rethink about how we want to attain our goals. But I would say motivation has been a big thing. Maintaining energy. Newton's #1 law is what is in motion stays in motion, and what is at rest stays in rest. So that applies to politics too. And I tell our ladies all the time, the energy is so important. If we wake up in August or September as a state and say, oh, gee, there's an election in November, you can't rally. You just can't do it. The Democrats aren't resting, and neither are we. So we were proactive. We proactively looked to ramp up the relationships that we already had in place, like with Steve Ministeri that you mentioned earlier. Yeah, we have a great relationship with him because we've worked with the 10K for 10R with him. So we ramped up that relationship. We've also got some new relationships. We started working with the Trump campaign. We worked with the Abbott University. We worked with,
The Senate
Institute. There were, I mean, the list goes on and on and on. I should have written them all down because it could.
Well, that paper would have probably been too long if you had to write them all down, but you've covered a number of really good ones.
Probably. But the point is, it gave our ladies all of the tools that they need and the opportunities to get involved while they're at home. So they don't have to wait until this whole thing is over. Right now, they can get training. They can immediately, with the 10K for 10R, start registering voters, which we have to have. We have a ton of voters, as Steve kept giving us these really great metrics, talking about, okay, we have this many in this pool and this many in this pool that are unregistered. We can reach those, and he's got the data to do it. We've got the manpower. So it's a great partnership. So we work together. We've been making all of those calls. We've gotten a ton of, what she said, nearly 85,000 people registered to vote already. In addition to that, we've been working with NFRW, which is our mothership, the National Federation of Republican Women. They set out a challenge for the special election in California and Wisconsin, as you know. Their goal was for the ladies across the nation to make 10,000 calls. Well, Texans, as you know, we don't take a challenge lightly. No. So we jumped right in, and nationwide we made almost 19,000 calls, but of the top 5 callers across the nation, 2 of those callers came from right here in Texas. That we're very proud of that.
Well, you should be very proud. And I mean, so they did not sit home idle, that they have definitely, they had definitely worked hard. So tell me, before we go into that fun fact, because we're winding down, it's hard to believe we've already covered almost 10 minutes, but how do they sign up? I see that we have a screen here that might give them a little link, and maybe you can tell them how to find a club.
Okay, so if you go to this website right here that you can see, tfrw.org, on the very front page, you can click on Find a Club, and you can find a club by your zip code. You can find a club by, if you're looking for something for your daughter who lives in another city. If you want to find one by your Senate district, there's a lot of search parameters there that you can go by, but it's really easy to look, and then you can contact each one of those. And I always say shopping for a club is like shopping for your church. When you find the right one, you just know because it fits.
That's right. So there are, like in the bigger cities, there are multiple clubs there. In the little counties, you know, there might be just one, but they're always welcome. And it is, like you say, you're searching for them. So we are definitely going to welcome any new people. I mean, I have a special place for Texas Federation of Republican Women because I happen to be a past president of the Federation. Very proud of that, and still very proud to be able to work with you. Well, now let's go into this last part that's going to wrap up talking with Tad. So can you give me a fun fact about yourself that you'd like to share with our viewers?
Okay, so I've been going over this and trying to figure out what my fun fact would be. And I thought, I have a lot of fun stories. And one of your other past presidents that you know, Jody Rushton, said, "Oh, I know which one. I know which one you need to tell." So I'm going to tell a fun story, if that's okay.
Okay, sure.
A couple of years ago, last year, before last, I think, we were invited. The ladies were in Washington for the National Federation quarterly meetings, and we were going to a high tea at the Trump Hotel, which I had never been to the Trump Hotel, and I was just, oh, it was fabulous, fabulous. So elegant, and of course, we're all dressed up on our best behavior, watching our P's and Q's. Well, after everything is over, Jody and I were standing outside waiting for our ride, and of course, we're all perfectly coiffed, as we would say here in Texas. Um, and we're just sitting there talking, waiting for our ride to come along, and all of a sudden this lady comes running up from across the street, and she taps me on the shoulder, and she goes, "Oh my gosh." And I was like, "What's the matter?" She goes, "I wanted to get your picture. I thought you were Melania Trump."
Oh.
And I was like, "What?" And she goes, "Look, from across the street, and you have this gorgeous suit on, and you're standing in front of the Trump Hotel, and you're tall, and you have all these people around you." I thought for sure, and of course there's limousines out there and everything. And I just thought that was the funniest story. So I called my husband later, and I was telling him all about this fabulous day with the high tea, and I saw all these great people, and blah, 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 blah. And at the end, there was this lady, and she thought I looked like Melania Trump. Is that not the greatest thing you ever heard? And he just stopped, deadpan. He says, "Has she seen Melania Trump?" I was like, "Okay, you got me. I don't look like Melania Trump." But it was a fun thing for me anyway.
That is a fun fact to share with us. I think that's awesome. Glynis, you have been so great in being open and sharing so much, about yourself, your personal side, and about the Texas Federation of Republican Women, as we know it as TFRW. So thank you for being our second interviewed person for Talking with Tad. You're awesome, and I look forward to seeing you in the future and working with you and all the ladies that are here in Texas. And I say to all of you, I look forward to seeing you next week when we bring back Talking with Tad at Tad Talks. Thank you.